Joining us now is Declan Welsh of the Decadent West, a band combining punk and poetry with a subversive social slant. I think that's fair, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty fair, right?
I mean, I think it's interesting that here we are in politically engaged times, and I wonder if you find more of an upswing in politically engaged songwriting to reflect that.
Certainly in different genres, like sort of hip-hop music is really socially conscious. I think you find a lot of artists are willing to say stuff. I think guitar music's a little bit behind. I think there's loads of really good songwriters, but there's not a lot of people that, a lot of what guitar music talks about is very introspective and talking about sort of people's experiences. So for stuff like mental health and sexuality, that's amazing. But for maybe social change and economic inequality or issues concerning sort of society at large, then I think guitar music doesn't talk about it maybe in the same way as other genres do.
What about you? What about your position musically? I mean, and lyrically, do you have faith, for example, in people pushing for change?
Yeah, I think that sort of human history is a story of cooperation. The whole reason that we're here is because we work together. We're not stronger than other animals, we're smarter, and as soon as we work together, then that means that we can achieve great things. And I think that a lot of people that have been in positions of power try to separate us and try to turn us against each other, but I think it is in everyone's best interest if we work together. So I do think that art's a way where you can highlight perspectives and ideals that don't come across as preachy, that can either grab someone because it's angry and it's exciting, or grab someone because it's tender and it's reflective, and it can help people understand ideas a lot more. I think art, it can hold a mirror up to the world, it can inspire people to want to do things.
It's interesting because people can be very resistant to the idea of political point of view being put in them in debate form, and we just have to look at the current sets of referendums and general elections for that. But music can, present ideas in a way that is something you could engage with.
Totally. I think that the point of art is to help us understand the world and understand ourselves better. And I think that's lost in the commercialisation of it, because now a lot of the times it seems that the point of art is to sell records or sell movies or to make as much money as you can, but it's a much more profound and deep thing than that, and not to slate anyone who wants to make a couple of quid. But I think that the lineage that art has, the long history it has of providing people with a way of understanding the world, it's a much more important thing than just making money.
Now, you travelled out to Palestine recently. Tell us about that.
It was the most profoundly amazing experience of my life. It was a total honour to be welcomed with such open arms by people who are more beautiful than I could ever think possible. And
so you got to spend time with the Palestinians?
Yes, yeah. That was the entire point of it. It was in the premise of playing a gig, but obviously that was a reason to get in more than it was a reason to go. We got to be taken around places like the Jordan Valley, which you got to see the agricultural side of resistance. We got taken in a lane and we got shown where Palestinians managed to push the wall back, and we got caught up in a protest and we got tear gassed off the IDF, which was...
Good grief.
Tear gas is a very effective crowd dispersal tool. I think I know that now firsthand, but it was just a regular day, do you know what I mean? And we were scared to death, but there was kids of 7, 8, 9 years old telling us it's okay, my house is over there, if it hits you we can go in there. The calmness was both moving and really sad, because obviously these kids deal with this every day. We got taken to Hebron and seen apartheid firsthand. We've seen nets where Palestinian shopkeepers have to put up to stop settlers from throwing stuff down on them, and we've seen a settlement that had a football pitch where Israeli kids were playing, and a Palestinian kid was showing us and saying, I'm not allowed to play there. And it was just, that was one of the most harrowing parts of it, to know that children who would be friends, who would play football together, who would, hang about together, because of the actions of our government, are being separated. And it's so clear, you can see it with your own eyes within 10 feet of each other.
A lot to take in, and perhaps also a lot to process musically. I mean, have you been writing about this?
It's been difficult, because everything you write doesn't seem to do justice to how profound the experience was, and also my role as an ally to the Palestinian movement isn't to to co-opt it into my journey. I think there's art to be created out of my perspective that can maybe help people like me understand it more. But my role as a supporter of the Palestinian movement should be to highlight Palestinian voices. So I think that it's been really difficult for me to write a lot about it. I've written a couple of things, I've done a poem, but like it's really difficult to write about anything other than my own individual perspective. But the point of it should be to highlight Palestinian voices. And I think the one thing that I would say coming out of it that I'd really be keen to be known in the wider public is that it's a place of hope, warmth and joy amongst what is just a terrible circumstance. It isn't a grim place, it isn't a scary place. I know that it's very difficult to convince my mum of that when I said I get tear gassed, but I didn't feel scared once. I felt scared once, and it was because we were at a protest and it was being clamped down on. But see, normal every day-to-day life, it's people carry on and you can drink. We get drunk with Palestinians. It was really fun. It's not a country that feels alien. It feels different, but there's so many things that feel like home, it was amazing.
Thanks very much for coming in.
Not at all. Thank you for having me. Cheers.